Welcome back to another episode of our Think Differently Videocast channel. Today we'll be discussing funding for SMMEs, and we'll just touch briefly on maybe some startups as well.
Yeah.
As you know, you're starting a business, whether you are selling hlonie at the corner, whether you're manufacturing shoes, whether you're developing software for an industry. We need money somehow to grow. We need access to finance, we need access to capital in order to grow our businesses, whether you use it for purchasing equipment or market access or marketing campaigns or paying staff or whatever it is that you need money to grow. And yeah, so these are some of the things that we think, well, not think, we believe that are quite, how can I say, quite accessible in terms of the funding space as well, if your business needs funding. So the first one that I want to talk about is called the GEP, which is the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller. So it's a government agency. The main aim is to improve the township economy, and obviously to any project or sectors in the informal sector, they're trying to put them onto the mainstream economy as well. So it's a great platform. They have different types of funding, such as startup capital funding, whereas if you have a new business or an existing business and you want funding for that, you need additional capital for growth or for acquisitions of equipment or whatever, you can approach them. They have contract financing. If we all know the whole tender things, tenders, RFQs, whatever you call it. If you have a government contract, right, a tender, I don't like using the word tender. But yeah,
but that's what it is.
It's what it is. It sounds so dirty, you know what I mean?
It is.
But yeah, tender, government contract from a government institution or public entity, even a private institution as well. And there's a shortfall in terms of your budget. You have a contract that you need to fulfill, says delivery of things. You can always approach them for financing of a particular contract. They also have growth funding as well. If your business is looking to expand, maybe you want to open more branches, you want to employ more people, you want to start scaling your business, you can approach them for growth funding, and also microfinancing as well. So there's a lot of things that they can assist you, even non-financial assistance as well, in terms of mentoring, writing of business plans, market access, guidance. Even when you are successful as an entrepreneur, you establish your business, they do hold your hand in terms of making sure that you do continuously develop. The more sustainable the business is, the more it can drive growth and employ more people, more job creation. Not to say that I was successful, because my brother and I had a government contract, but yeah, things kind of evaporated. I don't want to go into detail, but I did approach them for the government, for financing for government contracts. They assisted me where they could, but unfortunately on the other end, things didn't quite go through, so it fell apart. Yeah, so then we leave it there. So but yeah, it's a very, very, very accommodating organization.
So you're saying that it does work? Yes. Even though it doesn't work for you?
It definitely does work.
It does work.
I'm pretty sure there's someone out there who can have a testimonial for how GEP has helped them, because they are everywhere in every single industry.
So I didn't even know this thing existed. Like, I had no idea that there's this government platform. To me, I would have just, like, a tender is what I know.
Yeah.
Can any business go and apply via the GEP?
There's a qualifying criteria. Firstly, your business has to be registered. So your CIPC, which is your company's
intellectual property,
everything. It's a registration certificate you get, like as a proof of incorporation of a company. You need your tax clearance certificate as well to show that you are, paying your taxes regularly. You also need, what else? You need a business plan as well. But the business plan has to be in line with the GEP requirements, but they can obviously assist you with that. That's pretty much it for now. The rest, obviously, you can always research yourself on www.gep.co.za. Depending on what you need the funding for, they have more than enough information on the website. If not, you can always give them a call, or you can Google their branches and give them a visit.
Okay. Sounds good, bro.
Yeah, no.
My only concern is that it's government. And if we've been honest, there is government issues
Ish.
but nonetheless, it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
If I knew it existed earlier, I would have actually done the same thing. The total business agreement. Yeah. But okay, cool.
Yeah. So Gauteng Enterprise Propeller. That's all. Yeah.
Something that I had in mind. I think you've heard the term. It's an angel investor.
Okay.
Right. Basically, this person has funds, access to funds, usually at large amounts, right? Can be small amounts also, but if you're talking about SMMEs, right, then obviously this person has access to funds at the amount of 500,000 or more, plus minus, give or take. An angel investor works similar to a bank, right? If you want to apply for a loan at a bank, this person is just like an individual, right? So, example, I want to open up a chemical business, right? I have no funds, I have no access to funds, my family doesn't have access to funds, they don't want to borrow me money or whatever. And I find this person who's an angel investor, so I approach him, I say, listen, I have this is my idea, and this is my plan for the business. You have to have your projections in order to say that within the next 3 years, we'll be making up so much. So this guy, he checks your plans, you have the meetings, whatever, and he says, cool, I'll fund this, but I want this much of your profits. So for example, he'll say, I want 10%, right? And he'll give you the funds tomorrow. You can already start making your profits and start running your business. All you have to do is, as soon as you get your profits in, 10% goes to him every time. So obviously it depends on the deal, right? So good example is if you guys have watched Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, same story, right? Where there's a panel of investors and you pitch your idea and you talk about your finances and they all say, okay, cool, so these are their questions, right? If you already have your business existing, they ask for your previous financials. If you're new, they ask for your projected financials, right? New business, so your projected financials. And then it's the exact same concept, except this guy is just called an angel investor. And he has funds, right? It works the same in the property space. So even if I don't have funds to buy a property, I then go to a group of investors. I say I have a property at this price, and I'm buying it at this price. We're going to be making so much within the next 3 years. They each put in 200,000, right, to get this property, and then they want so much out of it. So that's just how it works for angel investors. So it's quite simple. You can do with family members who have access to large amounts of funds or whatever amount it takes your business to start up. If you have family and friends who can do that, go for it. But there is T's and C's with all of it. So just be careful of those T's and C's. Contracts become very important when you deal with an angel investor. Right? It's like a bank. If you approach a bank, they need collateral, right? Meaning something that they can take away if you can't pay back the loan. For example, your vehicle. They'll take back your vehicle because you've applied it as collateral. They take that to recover their funds. Angel investor could do that, right? But yeah, that's the one that I had around angel investors. It's really useful for a lot of things, especially for startup businesses, approaching family members who's willing to help you, that's cool. And then also friends who can help you with starting up your business. Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention as sort of like a disclaimer in the beginning of the episode is that not everyone is going to need funding from these organizations. Some people can start from a family with a wealthy background. Maybe your uncle has a business, or your dad or your friend has this or this or this or that. So if you can have that access to so angel investor coming. If you have access to that kind of capital, from your friends or family, like you just said now, then by all means, use it. It's not about where the money comes from. It's the fact that you do get the money
and you can start rolling.
So if you have close people in close proximity, whether friends, family.
You could even be strangers, bro. Like
bro.
If we're honest, a stranger is more willing to lend you the money because they see your plan. It makes financial sense to them. All you gotta do, something that I think we spoke about previously, is approaching people. Right? If you're driving somewhere and you see a guy with a Lamborghini, right, for example, and you just see him jumping on his car, and you're like, yo, what do you do? And he tells you what he does, right?
I've never been there.
and tells you what it does, and you're like, okay, listen, you're interested in a chemical business. Simple as that. Guy says yes or no. If he says yes, that already gives you the time to do the elevator pitch. To say this is what I have, and whatever. From there, you guys form a relationship. He could find you, he could not find you. But it's as simple as that, to get someone who you can see has access to funds. Find you. Yeah.
Another one, NYDA, I'm sure a lot of you guys know it now, the National Youth Development Agency. So it's another government agency which was obviously established to tackle some of the challenges faced by the youth of today. You know, we have a lot of societal problems such as unemployment, lack of job opportunities, blah, right? Moving away from the space of funding small businesses, so to speak. They fund small businesses and cooperatives as well.
Okay.
Right, so just like a GP, sorry, I forgot to mention that. Access not only in the entrepreneurship space but also in the employment space to the young entrepreneurs, so coaching and mentoring and whatnot. But they still do offer they call it grants, not necessarily funding. So the grants, some of the requirements or the qualifying criteria is that your business has to be categorized as a small or medium business. Can either be, the beauty of it is that it doesn't have to be formal. They also fund informal businesses as well.
Okay.
So that's a pretty nice thing that they do.
What would be an example of informal business that they would fund? Because if I'm a street vendor, will they fund me? No.
Also another criteria, like you said, is that the business has to be commercially viable as well. Okay. That's the only thing that makes a business formal, informal, is the fact that you registered. You have your registration numbers and your VAT numbers and your BBEs and whatnot, right? But it can still be informal and get funded by the NYDA, right? Some other qualification criteria is the fact that you need to be skilled in the particular enterprise you want to open, right? So, for example, you want to open up a workshop where you fix cars. You have to have some kind of expertise in fixing, cars. Like I don't know if it's a mechanical trade or whatever it is, right? So you need to have a certain level of skill and expertise in that particular trade that you want to do, to qualify. And then obviously needs to be between the ages of 18 to 35, South African citizen. The business needs to be in SA, operating in SA.
The usuals.
The usuals, you know what I mean? Very popular one, like I said, I'm sure people know about it. They do help a lot of people. They even go as far as giving grants. If you obviously want a grant of no less than 1,000 but no more than 100,000, they supply you with second-hand equipment as long as it's not industrial. They help you with patenting your products. They help you with contractual issues as well. So there's a whole lot of things, both financial and non-financial, that the NYD actually helps you with. So it's for more information, for the application forms as well, you can obviously go to the website www.nyda.gov.za and you get new information. If not, just give them a call if you're lazy to go through the website. So I think that's also interesting one though. I've personally never used it, so I can't.
It almost sounds better than the GEP though.
I think NYD is more focused for the youth. You know what I mean? Not to say that GEP doesn't consider the youth, but I think this one is geared more because it's the spectrum is broad. It doesn't just focus on youth entrepreneurship. It's more like mentoring and coaching and giving people access to job opportunities as well. You know what I mean? So there's a whole lot of things that it does, you know. But the main thing is supporting the
youth,
emancipating the youth. That's the main thing that it does.
No, it sounds cool, bro. Okay, so those were your government funding. Just to go away from government and go a bit more private, there's a funding company called Lula Lend, so Lula Lend, as in lending money, who also does financing for SMEs, right? So they offer a few types of financing. They offer bridge financing, credit facilities, equipment financing, and inventory financing, right? So bridging financing, that one there I just want to just elaborate a bit more. So for example, if you have working capital problems, right, then that bridging finance covers that shortfall in order for you to not land into any sort of debt type of thing. So yeah, that's what bridging financing is. And then there's your equipment and inventory financing. So if you need to finance for your equipment or your inventory, you know, it's as is. So basically for Lula Lend, the requirements is that your business has to be in operation for at least 1 year or more, right? It can't be a new startup or anything. It has to have been operating within that period, registered as well, right? It's got to register a company. And then you have to be having an annual revenue of 500,000 or more, right? So obviously you have to have a big business, right? Because you can't be operating, well, not a big business, but medium enterprise business, because that's a large amount to be operating with. So yeah, so that's some of the requirements. There is other requirements, which is your usual requirements of your documentation and so forth, right? You can check out those requirements on lulalend.co.za. That is the website. It is a private institution, like I mentioned, so it doesn't deal with government. There is a few more T's and C's to it, which you'll find on the site. Also to that, there is something called Voda Lend, right? So VODA Lend. That's just it's similar business models, just offers different products, right? So it depends on your business need, basically.
Another agency that we're going to talk about now is Safer Funding. Safer is small enterprise funding agency, right? So they offer funding in the form of loans, right? And the loans can range anywhere from 50,000 up to 3 million. They have different types of funding. One that my brother here spoke about was bridging financing as well, bridging funding, which is obviously when you have cash flow problems or working capital problems. I think anyone who's running a business, especially in the beginning, can agree that I personally experienced it myself, though, that you get customers, that will pay you at a later date, but you have to give them the product because you want to grow. Okay. So you in accounting, you did like credit and cash sales. Yeah. So most of the time, you will have to unfortunately give off the credit sales, and then wait for a later date, to get your money back. So it gives you a hell of a lot of cash problems. So the bridging funding or bridging financing or the bridging loan can help assist in paying that shortfall. If you need to pay your staff, you can use it. If you need to buy inventory, you can use it. Any shortfall, any working capital issues, you can use that loan for that as well. And then there's another type of funding, is what they call is the term loan as well. So a term loan is more like a general loan that you get from a bank.
From the banks, yeah.
It's a stipulated amount with your interest repayments at a specific time, date, and the length of the period of the loan as well, right? That's stipulated by Safer as well. So you can use your loan for anything that you need for your business, which is the one I said now, 50,000 up to 3 million. Whether you want to expand your business, whether you want to buy more equipment, inventory, pay people, anything that will help grow your business, marketing campaign or whatever, you can obviously access your bridging loan. And then there's your structural loan, is the last one that they offer, which is it's a loan that's tailored for a specific need in your business. Yeah. Right? So obviously it comes with a variation of terms as well. It wouldn't be the same as the term loans, right? Because it's just tailored for a particular thing. Same if it's a marketing campaign, or something movable assets that you want to buy, you can obviously get a structure loan as well, right? Some of the requirements that I needed is that you need a CIPC, your tax clearance, everything that's in line with
getting the loan, basically.
Getting the loan,
the funding,
right? And then obviously your business needs to be in line with corporate governance guidelines as well. Okay. You need to write sort of like a detailed business plan that is in line with the Safer as well. But I'm sure they do assist you with that if you can just do your research and ask them for assistance. You need to show that you're able to repay back loans as well. Whether it's through the financial track history of your business or any other way that you show that you are able to repay back credit. Yeah. That's also huge, I think, a success factor for them as well. Yeah. So those are some of as obviously you have to be SA citizen, your business has to be within the SA borders as well. some of the criteria. Is there anything else? If you really want to go into depth with the information, you can go on to www.sifa, yeah, the co.za, and for more information, or you can give them a call, like I said, if you're lazy to go to the website.
So something that I had, I forgot to mention about angel investors, or investors in general, is that the good thing about investors is you don't need to go through that whole having your business registered. You don't have to go through all that legal documentation, right? Because if it's like someone who's a friend, right? He could be the South African resident, he could be the foreigner, but you have a business running, you need some funds, right? This guy could just lend you the funds. So there's no need for you guys to have all that documentation in order for you to fund your business to go forward. Yeah. So that's the one benefit that I just remembered that's good to have with the investor.
Okay, that's a good one.
Because like as we're talking, I'm realizing a lot of these institutions almost, or funding institutions, they require those documents, right, by law. You have to have your company documents, your business has to be registered, and all of that. So I think if you're not going that route, go ahead and find an investor who's willing to just give you the funds based on his criteria.
Yeah, so that's SIFA. SIFA, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. From the Tannish brands here. So another one is, I think it's the last one we're going to speak on, right?
Yeah.
So IDC funding is the Industrial Development Corporation funding. It's a fund that usually focuses more on projects that lead to innovation, technological development, new products, partnerships between different industries, also focusing on key, high expertise or key expertise in priority sectors, right, that will lead to high growth, high development, and obviously more job creation. So I think this one is quite interesting for, like you said, we touched on startups, right, because this has a lot of funds, because they have different funds as well that they invest into. They have a couple of funds that actually focus on technological development and innovation, right? So you all know the startup story, how they drive growth in the technological space, right? So some of the funds that they fund, or the type of funds that they have the development fund, which is a fund that focuses more on developing projects in the informal sector or township economy and trying to put them into the mainstream economy. Okay. And then another fund is the Agro Processing Competitiveness Fund, which is a fund that helps promote job creation, competitiveness, and just the overall establishment of the business in the agro processing, which is it's almost like the agricultural science, right, and the beverages industry as well. The product is the PPD, which is a Product Processing Development Fund, which focuses on the fostering innovation and new technological development in businesses as well. So businesses that focus on using technology in order to create value, obviously bring about change for a lot of people as well. So your usual startups. I think everyone by now, if you don't know the startup space, you kind of have an idea of how they work, or the value that they bring to the economy and how they actually drive growth as well. So it's a very interesting platform to use a fund for. So another one is the Green Energy Efficiency Fund, which is a fund which focuses more on projects or businesses that improve energy efficiency, which will in turn obviously lead to a more green, carbon-free economy.
Yeah, like solar panels. If the company wants to work off solar,
basically
lights,
those things.
those things. Okay.
You know what I mean? So anything that's combating the global warming, greenhouse emissions, just anything that will make our economy more green, and more environmentally friendly, more viable in that sense. Okay. It funds those types of businesses as well. And then is another one. There's a bunch of other funds. There's your Transformation and Entrepreneurship Program fund, which focuses more on funding businesses or projects that are owned by marginalized groups such as women and disabled people. Right. So it obviously helps in growing and achieving more business growth, establishment from those people as well.
Okay.
So those are some of the funds that the IDC obviously funds as well.
So all of that falls under IDC.
For the IDC.
That's big.
Yeah. There's more in fact.
And is it actually a private company or is it like IDC private or is it government owned?
I'm not sure, but I do know they do have some government constituents as well.
Okay.
Right, because in order to have access to all these industries, you do need some kind of government interaction as well to make sure that it's more scalable and it's more beneficial for
the economy.
You know what I mean? So yeah, IDC funding. For more information in terms of the application process, the qualification process, you can check the website www.idc.co.za and you have more information on there.
Yeah, so thanks for that, bro. I think, that's actually, like you said, that was the last one. That was basically our top 6 of how you can get some funding for your business, right? Remember, this is not specifically for startups. This is for people who already have a business and need the funding. Also for people who are opening small to medium-sized enterprises, right? So, yeah, we hope it helped. And for more information, you'll find the links in our bio, so just do check that out. You just go click there and go straight to the web pages. And yeah, I think that's it from us. Guys, if you know any other funding mechanisms or tools that people could use for their businesses, do drop a comment. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Peace.
Peace.